Hello everyone, this is part 9 of What If Naruto Was the God of Taijutsu, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Headband. Check. Kunai and Shuriken stocked. Check. Awesome green outfit. Check. Okay, I'm ready to go. Naruto beamed at his own reflection in the mirror. It felt good to be back in Konoha and getting up in the morning to go for an intense day of training. It was amazing how much could change in such a short time. A little over a month ago and he would have thrown up at the prospect of having to get up at 4:30 in the morning to begin training. Now, he found he had missed doing it while they were out on the C-rank mission. Naruto switched his light off and cautiously stepped through the house. He had to be a little quieter in the morning now that he had roommates. To his surprise though, Haku was up, in the kitchen, and fully dressed. Oh, Naruto-san. Haku looked just as surprised to see Naruto up at this hour. Good morning. Naruto greeted. I didn't wake you when I took my shower, did I? Oh no, I am just an early riser. You look like you are ready to go somewhere. Haku observed Naruto dressed in his complete ninja attire. Yeah, me and my team always meet up at 5 in the morning to train. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. He found talking to Haku a little awkward. He wasn't really a bad guy, just overly polite, almost emotionless at times. It was more unnerving to Naruto than anything. I see. An awkward silence settled over the room. If you don't think Guy-san would mind, could I perhaps join you guys in your morning training? Naruto was taken aback by his roommate's request. He wouldn't mind at all, but are you sure? What about your arms? Haku flexed his hands lightly. He had gone to the hospital yesterday and the medical ninja there had almost completely healed his arms, but they still warned him to take it easy. They should be all right. You sure? Naruto looked reluctant. Is it not okay? Haku looked disappointed. No, I said it's alright. I just thought you wouldn't want to with your arms just being healed and all. Naruto waved his arms in front of himself in defense. If you're all ready, I'd like to get going right now. I'm usually the last one as it is. Haku immediately brightened. Yes, I am prepared. I look forward to training with you guys. Naruto smiled at him and led him out the door. Maybe not as emotionless as he first thought. Once outside, Naruto took to the roofs towards his team's training ground. Haku kept up with his more than brisk pace. Soon Naruto landed in an open field, Haku no more than a step behind. As expected, the rest of the team was already assembled. Naruto and Haku, what a pleasant surprise to see you at such a young hour in the morning. Perhaps your flames are looking to be fanned until they shine brilliantly. Haku winced at Guy's boisterous voice. Don't let it bother you, I think everyone who lives around here wears earplugs to sleep or something. Naruto and Haku walked up to his team. I hope it's okay that I brought him Guy-sensei. He is a member of Konoha after all. Of course it is fine, Naruto. Haku couldn't help but wince again. He also couldn't help but wonder how the others seemed oblivious to the man's uncannily loud voice. I am most glad you brought him actually. I intend to do things a little differently today. Haku wasn't sure what the Taijutsu master meant, but by the looks of his peers he wasn't alone. For that matter, they looked a little more lost than he was. What do you mean by different, Guy-sensei? Hinata was the first to voice her confusion. We are not going to be splitting into our groups anymore. No, you see, the time for individual training is over. You have all progressed nicely and have met the basic requirements I had set for you. Guy gave them his thumbs of approval. Instead, for morning practice, I will simply observe you all as you go for one-on-one spars for the next 2 hours. You don't mean you're done teaching us new tricks, are you? Guy quickly caught on to Naruto's concern and raised his hand to silence them all before any more questions could be made. Not at all. However, we now have much more time as a team to perfect these things, not being on missions for a while. So instead, I am going to spend our mornings together working on your taijutsu. You shall work on other stuff later. In fact, I have a special surprise for you all later. Yosh. I love surprises. They give me a feeling of such youth that I could be just a wee lad again. Lee's eyes seemed to catch fire. Haku backed up just an inch. This group was crazy. Just what did he get himself into? Haku realized too late that he made the wrong move backing up. Guy had been drawn to the subtle movement. Haku, how would you like to go first? You and Naruto can have a good warm-up match. Naruto practically jumped for joy at being called first. He rushed a little farther out into the clearing and turned around. Haku sighed in defeat and walked forward. What are the rules of this match? He asked while he slipped into his stance. Just taijutsu, none of that mirror stuff of yours. Naruto beamed as he slipped into his own stance. Doesn't that put you at a disadvantage as well? If I remember correctly, you specialized in clone combat. Are you all that capable without them? Haku had meant the question innocently enough, but the look of anger that slipped onto Naruto's face told him that he had definitely warded that poorly. You'll be sorry if you underestimate a genius of hard work. Guy warned. If you guys are ready. Begin. Haku was still pondering what Guy had meant by genius of hard work when he called to begin. Naruto hadn't missed a beat though and had cleared half the distance before Haku was even self-aware. Don't just stand there, it won't be fun that way. Naruto threw a punch right at his opponent. Haku grabbed his fist and upper arm before the fist could connect. Then, planting his feet firmly, he lifted Naruto high in the air, intending to throw him backwards over his head, all in one fluid motion. Haku didn't expect to feel Naruto grab onto his shirt sleeve just as he was completely perpendicular to the ground. Now, instead of going flying backwards, Naruto arced downwards. As he did, he pulled Haku's arm painfully backwards. Naruto then pulled up, now lifting Haku over his head. Before the boy could even react, he was painfully into the ground on his backside. The whole thing, from the moment Haku grabbed onto Naruto, to the moment he was down, took less than 5 seconds. Excellent. Haku, that was an incredible counter to Naruto's punch. Naruto, your ability to think on the spot and make use of what you're given never ceases to surprise me. Guy clapped for the quick performance. Haku slowly stood up and gave Guy a look of pure disbelief. I don't understand. Why praise me? I lost, instantly. That was disgraceful. Haku, the way Guy said his name sent a shiver down his spine. That voice was straight up disturbing. He would rather the man be shouting at the top of his lungs. You may have lost, but what matters the most is that you tried. That doesn't work in the real world. If you mess up there, you okay. Haku took a step forward. Or have you already forgotten what I had done to Naruto-san? Guy's face suddenly took on a dark demeanor, one that caused Haku to take back his forward step. Of course I have not forgotten. That moment will be engraved in my soul for eternity. However, this is not the real world. We make mistakes here and learn from them. That way when the time comes in the real world, we are ready. That is how we grow. Guy's face brightened up after that. So what do you say? Let's give it another go. Haku quickly nodded his head a couple of times. He turned around and was surprised to find Naruto was already back in his fighting stance. Had he known that Guy was going to come out on top of that argument? Haku had a feeling it may have been from personal experience. Their sensei was truly an impressive shinobi. Don't expect me to go any easier on you this time. Haku settled into his stance as Naruto shouted. I wouldn't expect anything like it. He gave Naruto a small smirk. He would definitely do better this time. Ready, go. This time both Haku and Naruto raced at each other. If the blonde was surprised by Haku's new tactic, he didn't show it. Naruto and Haku both aired their fists back and sent them forward. Their fists collided with a loud smack. Neither boy showed any sign of pain though. Naruto immediately brought his left knee up. Haku brought his up at the same time. They both connected as well. What the hell? Naruto jumped backwards and Haku mimicked him. They both began stalking one another in a circle. You're copying my fighting style. Naruto studied his opponent carefully. Not exactly. I am just reading your movements and matching them. Haku explained blandly. That's the same thing. Naruto's face scrunched up in anger. I can't help it if you make your movements so obvious. Haku taunted. Let's see you say that when I shove your face in the dirt. Naruto charged at him again. Haku matched his charge. They both jumped in the air and delivered a spinning kick. As with the last two blows, their feet collided. Naruto smirked and pushed off, intending to knock Haku backwards. To his chagrin, Haku pushed off at the same moment. They both did a backflip and skidded on the grassy earth. Now you're starting to piss me off. They both ran at each other again. Instead of throwing fists though, they ran straight past each other, then both stopped hard and spun around. Naruto's backhanded fist met forearm to forearm with Haku's. The group to the side watched the sparring match with great interest. That is incredible, Guy-sensei. He looks just like a mirror of Naruto, copying his every move like that. He must be reading the slight tensions in Naruto's body to know what he is going to do. Well spotted, Lee. Yes, Haku indeed has an incredible pair of eyes and reflexes. To not only be able to predict Naruto's moves, but match them flawlessly takes years of practice. Few without possession of the Sharingan are capable of it. Surely there are weak points to that fighting style though. Hinata whispered as she watched with an active Byakugan. Yes, of course. For instance, that wouldn't work if Naruto was using his clones or Lee had his weights off. Nor would it be possible for him to mimic your Yurukan. However, in a fight of just Taijutsu, it proves most effective. Guy held a finger up as he explained all his points. Yes, but it is also not advantageous here, is it? I mean, Naruto has far more stamina than he. It will only be a while before he starts to slow down and Naruto nails a powerful punch. Lee was busy writing down notes of everything his sensei had just said. Good point, Lee, but you are forgetting one thing. Guy said with a knowing wink. Oh, what is that, Guy-sensei? Please tell me. Lee begged, his pencil and notepad ready to go. Naruto's temper. Lee quickly scribbled it down. Naruto would normally outlast him in this. However, if he loses his cool, which in turn causes him to lose his focus, Haku will overpower him. They're squaring off again. Hinata interrupted. Guy and Lee both turned their attention back to the fight. That does it. I'm gonna make you regret pissing me off. Naruto charged forward with all his might. Haku stood still this time, a victorious smirk on his face. Just as Naruto reached him, Haku stepped to the side but kept his leg out. Naruto tripped over it. The blonde started flailing. Suddenly, his flailing arms grabbed onto the front of Haku's shirt. Ha! I got you now. Naruto's anger was now replaced by his own smirk. He brought his other fist from down low to swing at Haku. It took the other boy the barest of a second to figure out what had happened. Naruto had faked his anger and let himself get tripped. This had caused Haku to drop his own guard. Clever but not good enough. Haku threw his own punch. The angle wasn't right for Haku this time though. Their fists skidded right by each other and continued on to nail one another in the cheek. Naruto lost his grip on Haku and fell forever. Haku lost his own balance from the force of the blow and fell back the other way. They both lay there in the dirt, panting heavily, and with a bruised cheek. Yet each one also bore a big grin on their face. Guess that one's a tie, huh? Naruto stood himself up and offered a hand to his opponent. Haku hesitated a moment before grabbed it. Yeah, that means I'm improving. Next round will be my win for sure. You wish, Naruto said as he started taking steps back. That'll be enough actually. Naruto turned to give his sensei a disappointed look. The others need a turn. Besides, you and Haku can have your final bout later. Alright, Naruto grumbled, walking back over to his team. Haku tried hard to hide his own disappointment. It was a strange feeling. This competitiveness was not something Haku had ever felt before. He definitely didn't dislike it though. On the contrary, he felt stronger because of it. Answer, the next 2 hours flew by for Haku as he sparred with his fellow genin. He won a couple matches and he lost a couple. The only one of the group who actually came out undefeated was Lee. Not that it was unexpected. Taijutsu was all he had to rely on after all. It was all over too soon in Haku's opinion. He was exhausted, sweaty, and covered in dirt, but he had had fun. He had never had fun with others his age and it was truly a different experience. Okay team, now here's what's going to happen. Guy called as they all assembled around him. We are going to part for 2 hours, and then we shall meet back up here, where I will tell you about that surprise. The air of excitement from the group was practically overflowing. So enjoy yourselves, and be ready for hard work when you return. Yosh. Naruto, let us make haste to Ichiraku. Lee was about ready to bolt but he noticed Naruto's hesitance. Do you not want to go? No, Not that. Naruto shook his head. I just got to talk with Guy-sensei about something important, so you go on ahead. Are you sure? I could wait for you. Lee offered. You wouldn't want to keep Ayami-ne-chan waiting, would you? Lee gasped at his question. You are right, I must make due haste to her. Be sure to come as quickly as your flames will allow you. Lee was off like a rocket. What's this about, Naruto? If you want to know the secret, I won't tell you early. Naruto shook his head. No, it's different. It's about Lee. Guy gave Naruto a puzzled stare. What about Lee? He seemed most youthful to me. Naruto shared a look with Hinata. Well, you see, Guy-sensei. Last night, Lee accidentally got some sake. Naruto stopped his explanation as he noticed his sensei's entire face go white. Haku looked on with interest. This was news to him. How is the establishment? Guy managed to see out. You know about what happened, Guy-sensei. The man who finally stopped Lee said something about him being a natural Sukan fighter. What is that? Guy's eyes widened, mentioned at the name of another person. What other person? Who stopped him? Guy had a bad feeling in the pit of his gut. I don't know. Some weird guy with one eye and silver hair. Kakashi, my youthful rival, you strike in devastating blows yet. This was a problem. Lee's Sukan abilities were supposed to be kept a secret. They had been his trump card against his rival's team. Now he knew about it. Guy-sensei. Guy shook his head. A Sukan fighter is someone who specializes in fighting while intoxicated. It is a tricky art to master, but if perfected, is almost impossible to devise a counter-attack against. Lee may have had an ancestor in his past that was one because Lee's skill in it is top-notch. So you've seen it before? Guy nodded to Naruto's question. Only once, right after Lee learned the Omote range. The result was disastrous. It was Naruto's turn to nod his head. I can say the same. I thought he was scary strong in Taijutsu before. But this was just ridiculous. Naruto shuddered at yesterday's memory. Yes, no matter what, keep Lee away from alcohol. I take it he doesn't remember. Naruto nodded again. Keep it that way for now. Now I've got some preparing to do, I'll see you back here in 2 hours. With that, Guy was gone. You have got to tell me that story. Haku turned to Naruto, the second Guy had left. Right, we'll tell it on the way to Ichiraku's. Naruto stuck his hand out and Hinata took it. With that, the group started walking out of the clearing. 2 hours later. Man, I wonder what this big surprise is. I can't even make a guess here. Naruto walked slightly ahead the rest of the group he was with. They were all heading back to the training ground to meet up with their sensei. Yosh. I hope it is the newest model of training weights. Lee's eyes sparkled at the thought. New training weights. Is that really the most you hope for out of life? Haku felt just a little sorry for the spandex-clad shinobi. I don't know, but do you guys think it has to do with Zabuza-san and Tenten-san? Hinata said curiously. What do you mean by that? Hinata pointed instead of answering Naruto's question. He looked forward and standing in the training ground with their sensei was Zabuza and Tenten. Now that's strange. I am more curious than ever now. Lee suddenly took off into the training ground. After a brief pause, the rest of the group followed his pace. Tenten. It brings back memories of my youthful days seeing you again. Lee dove at Tenten for a hug. The girl quickly stepped out of the way. Without her there, Lee flew into the ground. Come on, Lee. We've talked about this. Hugs are okay, but none of them flying ones. Also, what do you mean youthful days? It's only been a month. Tenten smiled at Lee after her rant and offered him a hand. Lee accepted it and she lifted him up. It really isn't the same without you guys. Old friend. Haku whispered to Naruto curiously. Old teammate, me and Hinata are Lee's second group. Naruto whispered back. I see. Haku then picked up his voice. Zabuza-san. I am surprised to see you up so early. I take it Guy-san is the cause. Zabuza snorted. Of course he is. You better be thankful to me for this too, Haku. Thankful? I don't understand. Haku suddenly took notice of a sheathed katana in Zabuza's hand. I will now explain. Guy interrupted any further conversation. Naruto, Lee, Hinata, Haku. Today, you will all begin a different form of training. Even me. Haku pointed to himself. Yes, even you. Guy reached into his back pouch and removed his nunchaku. Today, you all begin learning to wield a weapon. But Guy-sensei, I can already use kunai and shuriken. Naruto interrupted. Guy shook his head a couple times. That is not what I mean. You will all learn to use one certain weapon. You will train with it daily. You are to become as familiar with the weapon as you are with yourself. Lee, these are for you. Guy handed a wide-eyed Lee the nunchaku. Really, these are mine. Guy-sensei. Lee looked on the verge of tears. Yes, the nunchaku is the weapon I am most familiar with. Therefore, it will be I who will teach you how to wield them. Guy boasted proudly. But Guy-sensei, what about the rest of us? Does that mean we will get a different teacher? Hinata was starting to see why Zabuza and Tenten might be here. You catch on quickly as always. Yes, while I regret to say it, I am not qualified to teach you in other weapons. So I found suitable people who could. Guy turned to Haku. I assume you know who you will be training with. Haku gave a barely visible nod. Zabuza couldn't help but laugh at this. Cat got your tongue, boy. It's about time I teach you the way of the sword anyway. Someday I need to pass Kubikiri Hoko on to someone after all. Zabuza had never seen a bigger smile from Haku his whole life. Hey, sensei, what does that leave for us? Naruto pointed excitedly between himself and Hinata. Yes, you too. I'll start with you, Hinata. To be frank, I don't know what kind of weapon to teach you. Hinata's head dropped a little in disappointment. But do not worry, that is why I called Tenten here. She is going to go over a bunch of different weapons with you. Once you have one that you are comfortable with, you and Tenten can begin your training with it. Hinata looked over at the older girl. Let's do our best, Hinata-chan. Tenten smiled brightly at her. Yes, thank you, Tenten-san. I look forward to working with you. Hinata bowed slightly to her. Alright, well, if you don't mind, I am going to take her over to our training ground, Guy-sensei. Tenten walked over and patted Hinata on the shoulder. Yes, that is most excellent. Hinata, remember to take a lunch and meet up with us at 3 for work on your Urukan style. Guy waved his student and former student off. Well then, I saw a good river for me and the boy to train on. Zabuza motioned for Haku to follow him. Be sure Naruto is on time today. Zabuza called back as the two were walking away. What did he mean by that? Naruto asked curiously. I'll explain later. Guy waved his question off. Now Naruto, your weapons training will have to wait a while to begin. What? Why? Naruto asked before Guy had even finished speaking. Lee even looked at his sensei curiously for the reason. Well, the thing is, I haven't exactly worked it out with the man I want to teach you. Guy rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment. A bad habit he had picked up from his blonde student. Well, who is it at least? When can I meet him? He meets up with his team at 10. They always eat at a Korean barbecue before. You mean Shikamaru's sensei, Asuma or something? Guy didn't even try to hide his surprise. You know him? Well, I wouldn't say know him, but I've met him once. I was asking one of his students for a favor. Naruto shivered at the memory. So what exactly is it he uses? Guy sighed in defeat. There was no hiding anything from his students anymore, was there? Asuma-san specializes with chakra knives. That sounds awesome. What do they do? Naruto interrupted. If you would let me keep talking, I would tell you. Naruto gave a guilty look and Guy continued. You channel your chakra into them and depending on your chakra affinity, they gain a certain special property. Naruto stared at him blankly. You don't know what chakra affinities are, do you? He shook his head. Every shinobi has at least one affinity. For instance, say you were a fire affinity, the most common one here in the fire country, you would have a better knack for fire-style jutsu. This doesn't mean you can't use water or earth ones per se, they just won't come as naturally to you. When Guy finished he noticed both Naruto and Lee hurriedly scribbling everything he said down onto notepads. When did you get a notepad too? Guy looked back and forth between his two students. Bushy brow just gave me one when you launched into that technical description. I gotta say, these things are pretty handy. Naruto admired his new notepad while Guy shook his head in disbelief. So, Guy-sensei, how do I know what my natural affinity is? Good question. There are special papers to tell you, but we are just going to wait until you use the chakra knives to find out. What if my affinity doesn't match Asuma's? Will he still train me? Asuma-san has a wind affinity. The least common here in the Leaf Village. It is not likely you will share in this. I am at least hoping he will teach you the basics. Guy explained. If you don't think our affinities will be the same, why have me learn it at all? Naruto was really stumped by his sensei's logic. The knives are a perfect choice for you. You have so much chakra readily available that I think you could use those knives in a way like no one before. Call it a gut feeling, but when looking up weapons last night for you, I knew those had to be the ones. Guy patted his gut for emphasis. Well, if your gut told you so, then I'm all for. Naruto could understand a gut feeling quite well. He listened to his all the time. I'm glad. Lee, we shall train while we wait. Guy turned his attention to his oldest student. Yes, Guy-sensei. Lee swung his nunchaku around until he hit himself in the head with one end. Guy had a lot of work to do. Okay, tonfa aren't really your thing either. Tenten sighed and looked at all the scattered weapons they had gone across. Hinata had shown a little bit of talent in some and next to none in others. Sorry, Tenten-senpai. Hinata used the honorific Tenten had preferred. She wasn't big on having san or sensei on the end of her name. Please let me use the next weapon. How about this one? Kind of nostalgic, don't you think? Tenten pulled out her kusarigama. Hinata of course recognized it instantly. It was the very weapon Tenten had used to defeat Naruto in a one-on-one spar. I will give it a try. Hinata reached forward and tentatively grabbed a hold of it. She swung the ball end around a few times while with the sickle end. You're not too bad at that one actually. I'll explain a little about it if you want. Hinata gave it a couple more of experimental swings before she stopped. I don't think I would feel comfortable using this. I understand that its main use is to bind the opponent with the chain and then strike with the sickle, but I do not think I would feel comfortable doing that. Tenten gave a slight frown at the young Hyuga girl. So you're not a big fan of people up close, huh? Kind of both fortunate and unfortunate you were born a Hyuga then. Hinata understood what she was saying. Specializing in her clan's taijutsu meant she never had to tear apart her opponent's skin to get to them. It also meant she had to be close to take their lives though. Well, I hadn't really planned on recommending these, but how about bow and arrows? Tenten pulled the weapon in question out from her scroll. It's easy enough to use, here watch. Hinata activated her Byakugan and watched as Tenten strung the bow and then pulled an arrow from her quiver. Tenten then knocked the air, turned towards the target and fired. She hit right in the center of one of the targets in the training field. Okay, now you try. Hinata grabbed the bow from Tenten. She then took the arrow that was handed to her. She did exactly what Tenten had done and knocked the arrow. When she let go to fire, the back of the arrow snapped downwards and nailed Hinata in the arm. She let out a hiss of pain as she dropped the bow and held onto her forearm where the arrow had hit. Oh. Hinata, are you okay? Tenten ran forward and inspected the damage. That'll leave a welt, but you should be okay. She then let out a sigh. Well, let's see, what to try next. No. Hinata caught the older Kunoichi off guard. I want to try again, please. Tenten just shrugged. Suit yourself. Hinata nodded her thanks and picked the bow and arrow back up. She knocked it again and aimed at the target Tenten had shot at. This time, when she pulled back, the arrow flew straight and true. It split Tenten's arrow into pieces and took the place of where it had been. Wow, now that was a good shot. Tenten punched Hinata in the shoulder. Looks like we found your weapon. Hinata nodded excitedly. Yes. Naruto, Lee and their sensei waited outside the restaurant for Asuma and his team to come out. Lee was swinging his nunchaku around the whole time. He was already making good progress at it and Naruto was starting to feel just a little jealous. Finally, after nearly an hour of waiting, the team was walking out of the restaurant. Asuma quickly caught sight of Guy and his students and started walking towards them. Asuma's students looked confused at his change of direction but quickly saw Naruto and figured it out. Or more accurately, Ino recognized Naruto and the boy from the picture. Naruto, I thought I told you I won't go out with him. I should really kick your ass. Ino started stomping up to an incredibly frightened Naruto. Wait, it's not like that this time. Guy-sensei has a question for your sensei. Naruto ignored the confused looks from Guy and Lee as he hid face behind his arms. He really hoped Ino didn't hit too hard. Fortunately for him, Ino had just noticed Naruto-sensei, and was gaping in horror at the man. Ino's fashion disaster sirens were going off in every section of her brain. Speak to me, you say. Well, what is it you need, Guy-san? Asuma said after he took a long drag from his cigarette. Guy clasped his hands in front of himself and dropped to his knees. Asuma backed up in surprise and dropped his cigarette. I beseech you, train Naruto in the use of chakra knives. Asuma's students jumped back from the man's booming voice. Wah, Asuma said unintelligibly. After a good second he pulled himself together and let out a couple of coughs. Why should I do that? What's in it for me? I could train your students in youthful vigor. Guy offered, still on his knees. I know exactly what you mean by that, and I guarantee you could never pull that off with this group. Besides, there is no way Naruto has the same wind affinity as me. It would be impossible for me to teach him. Asuma was frantically trying to calm the man down. There were a lot of onlookers already. I beg you to try anyways. Asuma thought hard for a way out of this. Suddenly, an idea came to him. I'll tell you what, I heard from Kakashi you like to make bets. Guy's head snapped up at that. If you win a game of shogi, I'll train Naruto. If you lose, you have to find someone else. I accept. Guy was immediately on his feet. Take me to this shogi board. Asuma draped his arm around Guy's shoulder. Right away. Let's go, guys. Asuma led Guy away. The genin all shared a look. They then walked after their respective sensei. Asuma led them around to the back of his house. After just a couple moments of them waiting outside, Asuma returned with the shogi board. Here, you are. He set the game down in front of Guy, who immediately began setting his side up. Well, do not dawdle, Asuma-san. Take your seat and let's begin. Guy looked up to his opponent. Afraid not, Guy-san. You see, I didn't say your opponent was me. Your opponent is in fact, Shikamaru. Asuma patted his laziest student hard on the back. Oh man, what a drag. Shikamaru groaned as he slinked over to the shogi board. Do I really have to play against such an energetic man? Despite his complaints, he set up his side of the field. It's your move first, Guy-san. Shikamaru said lazily. Hey, are you not taking us seriously? If you lose cause of him, you gotta train me. Naruto pointed irritably at the lazy boy. Naruto, you really are dumb, aren't you? Choji said through a mouthful of food. What was that? Naruto turned his angry attention to the plump boy. Shikamaru has never lost once in shogi, not even to Asuma-sensei. There's no way such a dumb-looking guy can win. Choji shoved more food in his mouth. You're kidding? Naruto suddenly had a bad feeling about this. He ran up to the board to cheer his sensei on. 10 minutes later and Shikamaru was staring with incredible intensity at the board. I can't believe it. I lost. He finally said. You what? For the second time Asuma lost his cigarette. He quickly ran up to the board. He hadn't bothered watching the game, he had been confident Shikamaru would win. After searching it for a few seconds he verified that Shikamaru had indeed lost. That's not possible. Ino voiced Choji's thoughts aloud. Haha, sorry to tell you all, but I happen to be a shogi fanatic myself. Anything to stay ahead of my youthful rival, Kakashi. Guy stood up and bowed down to a shocked Shikamaru. Your flames burn brightly within your head. It has been a long time since I was given such a youthful challenge. Now Asuma-san, I believe I won our bet. Of all the rotten luck, I would pick a game you were good at. I was so confident too. Asuma pulled out another cigarette and lit it. He then pulled out his chakra knives. Okay, Naruto, listen up. Asuma barked. Naruto immediately stood at attention and saluted. Yes, Asuma-sensei. Asuma and his team were surprised by Naruto's reaction. Right, take this and channel chakra into it. I can't determine anything until I know what your affinity is. Asuma handed him the knife. Naruto, not too much, you know what tends to happen. Naruto nodded to Guy-sensei's warning. He channeled just a little bit of chakra into it. No one saw anything happen. Does it feel heavier? Perhaps a little hotter? Asuma asked curiously, reaching his hand out for the blade. Naruto shook his head. That knocks out earth and fire. Asuma's hand was a good 2 feet in front of the blade when he pulled back sharply. A small sea appeared on his hand. That's not possible. Asuma-sensei, you okay? Naruto asked worriedly. Asuma responded by pulling out a shuriken. Naruto, I am going to throw this a little to your right. I want you to swing at it, but I don't want the blade to make contact. Just try to get it within a foot. Asuma pulled his arm back into throwing position. Right, I'm ready, Asuma-sensei. Asuma let his shuriken fly. Naruto swung at it and missed like he was told. To everyone's surprise, the shuriken split in half anyways. Whoa, that was sweet. Naruto looked at the blade in awe. Well, I'll be damned. He has the wind affinity after all. What luck. That makes 2 of us in the entire village. Asuma ran his hand through his hair. But Naruto, I thought your sensei told you to go light on the chakra. I have to put in a lot to get it to go that far. But this isn't a lot for me. If I was going all out, something like this would happen. Naruto pointed the blade at the tree. Naruto, wait. Guy spoke too late. Fortunately, there were no adverse effects. Instead, the tree he pointed at had a hole in it, and the tree behind that, and the rock behind that. Lee went to inspect, and the others thought he got lost after a while. Finally, Lee reappeared. It went just short of a quarter mile, Guy-sensei. He reported. Asuma whistled while Choji and Ino's jaws hit the ground. Even Shikamaru's eyes widened slightly. Guess I've got no choice but to train him now. He could really hurt someone if he doesn't learn proper control. Naruto smiled brightly and bowed down before his new weapons trainer. Thank you, Asuma-sensei. Yeah, don't mention it. Here, take this one too. Asuma threw Naruto another one. I tend to wield them in pairs, so you'll be learning that way too. Your agreement to teach Naruto is most appreciated, Asuma-san. However, we must leave you for now. Naruto and I have an appointment with another teacher in less than 15 minutes. Guy patted Naruto's shoulder. Geez, don't work him too hard. I expect you to start eating brunch with my team, Naruto. We'll start practice immediately after that. Yes, Asuma-sensei. Naruto saluted him. Soon, Naruto, Lee and their sensei were off towards the Hokage Tower. What an incredible kid, wouldn't you guys say? Asuma looked around at his students. Huh, where's Shikamaru? Choji and Ino just noticed he was missing too. Shikamaru trailed a few buildings behind Guy and his students. Abruptly, Guy came to a stop and turned around. Naruto and Lee turned around as well. Shikamaru sighed. Troublesome. He walked up to the group of 3. Can I help you, Shikamaru-kun? Guy asked in a knowing voice. Shikamaru clenched his teeth. This guy was definitely smarter than he let on. Please, teach me to play shogi. He wouldn't meet Guy-sensei's eyes as he spoke. Of course. Shikamaru looked up in surprise. Just like that, Guy's smirk got bigger and Shikamaru knew he was in over his head. I have a requirement now for anyone I teach anything to. They must participate in my morning sparring sessions at 5 in the morning. Shikamaru had to concentrate, really had to keep his jaw in place. 5 in the morning was unheard of. Yet he really needed a stronger shogi opponent. Shikamaru cursed inside his head. I'll do it, he said through clenched teeth. Excellent. We'll work out the details when I see you tomorrow morning. Here is a map to get you there. Now if you'll excuse us, we are really running behind. Shikamaru nodded as he stared in amazement at the map. The nut job had actually known he was going to come ask him and had a map prepared already. I got to get back to my team anyways, he finally said as he turned and ambled his way back in the direction of his sensei's house. Man, what am I getting myself into? How troublesome. Guy checked the time again. Right, let us make all due haste. He took to the rooftops followed by his students. Meanwhile, in the Hokage's office, 2 men sat waiting for Guy and Naruto. They are late. I guess I should expect no less from Kakashi-senpai's equal. Patience, 10 Yamato. The Sandaime caught himself from using the man's old code name. Guy is not one to be late normally, I am sure there is a good reason. Just as he said this, Guy and his 2 students burst into the room. I apologize for the delay, Hokage-sama. Guy threw himself to the floor in apology. Me and my students will do 500 laps around Konoha on our hands to repent for such an error. Yamato wasn't sure what surprised him more. The idea of such a cruel form of punishment or the fact that his students looked rather excited by the prospect of it. To further his surprise, the Hokage burst out into laughter. Don't worry about it, Guy. You are hardly late at all. I hope Naruto is ready though. This man here is Yamato. He was a former Anbu but has taken a temporary leave so he can train Naruto for us. You are too kind, Hokage-sama. Guy was up immediately and in front of Naruto's newest teacher yet. The man's gaze kind of creeped Yamato out a little. I recognize you. You're the cute little kuhai that was always following Kakashi around. Well, I wouldn't exactly say followed around. Guy suddenly took Yamato's hand in both of his. Please take good care of Naruto in this dangerous training. I wouldn't be able to bear it if anything happened to any one of my cute little students. Guy looked on the verge of tears. Ah, of course. No harm will befall him with me around. In fact, today we won't even begin any training. I simply intend to open his seal a little so he is capable of letting more chakra through. Yamato leaned his face back slightly. Oh, excellent. Do you mind if Lee and I stay for this? Yamato shook his head. All right, Lee, let us take a seat and observe. Guy and Lee were immediately in seats. Yamato blinked twice to verify that it had happened so quickly. His eyes then settled on Naruto, who still stood in the middle of the room. Hello there, Naruto-kun. My name is Yamato. It is a pleasure to meet you. Yamato walked up to Naruto and stuck hand out. Naruto eyed him suspiciously. You can really teach me to control the fox. Yamato couldn't blame the boy for his skepticism. I cannot really teach you. I am more going to help you teach yourself. Naruto stared at him curiously. Maybe it would make more sense if I demonstrated my abilities. Yamato ran his hands through a set of seals. A tree started to sprout up next to him. Awesome, how the heck did you do that? Naruto's previous insecurities forgotten. You could say that through an interesting series of events I now possess the same genetic makeup of the Shodaime. Yamato patted his fully grown tree. As you're of course aware, he was capable of controlling the Biju to a certain degree. He was. That's incredible. That explains why you're training me. Naruto started climbing the tree. He really didn't know that, and when did he get up there? It occurred to Yamato that this might take more work than he had originally thought. Naruto, come down here and let me take a look at your seal. Naruto immediately complied and jumped down. He then pulled his shirt off and began channeling chakra. Soon the seal was visible. The Yondaime was an incredible person. This seal is still in perfect condition, hardly any chakra is even getting through. Yamato inspected it carefully. Okay, don't worry, I am going to tamper with your seal just a little. All I'm doing is making it so you can consciously pull more chakra out of it on your own. Yamato immediately went to work on it. Say, Yamato-sensei, are there risks on me pulling out its chakra when you've changed the seal? Naruto looked down curiously as Yamato went about his slightly ticklish work. There are always risks. The fox will try to control your mind. The more chakra you let through, the more influence it will get. Yamato didn't pause or look up to answer Naruto's question. That should do it. Already. Naruto looked down curiously. His seal didn't look all that different to him. He'd never really studied it either though. Yes, now we are going to just test it today. The way it works now is by visualizing your seal. Once you've done that, just image yourself pulling at it. The harder you pull and the more chakra you'll get. Yamato ran through seals as he was talking. 4 pillars rose up around Naruto. These are just to absorb the chakra you leak out. We are not going to work on controlling it today. Normally, when you pull out chakra from the seal, it stays until it is all used up. Depending on how much you pull depends on how long it lasts. Right, so just pull out a little bit today and we're done. Naruto asked as he began to focus and visualize the seal like Yamato said. Exactly, we'll work on maintaining your sanity tomorrow. Today is just to make sure it works and find out if there are any negative side effects from opening your seal up a little. Yamato held his hand up. A marking appeared upon it. Naruto nodded and became completely still. Everyone watched with bated breath to see what would happen. At first it was nothing. Then they began to feel it. An oppressive chakra started to hang in the air. Then they saw it. Red chakra began leaking out of Naruto's seal. Soon it began wrapping itself around his whole body. Naruto, how do you feel? Yamato questioned cautiously. I feel powerful. His voice came out slightly feral. Is this what it feels like to open the gates? Do you feel yourself? Yamato pressed on. Naruto gave him a confused look, but with his new slightly sharper teeth, it looked more like a snarl. I don't feel anything, I don't think he's in my mind. Naruto held his head as he talked. The chakra began disappearing. Soon it was all gone and Naruto looked completely normal again. Man, I feel kinda dizzy. Naruto swayed a little and leaned on one of the pillars Yamato had erected. That's not surprising. I'd say today went quite well. I look forward to training you more in the future. Is noon good for you? Naruto seemed to think about it for a minute. One would be better. I got weapons training that starts at 10. Yamato nodded a couple times. One it is then. Yamato stuck his hand back out. This time Naruto took it without hesitation. Yeah, thank you for all your help Yamato-sensei. Guy stood up and walked over. Yes, we are all overjoyed by your youthful assistance. May you flames burn just as bright when we next meet. Guy also shook his hand. Yosh. Naruto, you were most impressive in your foxy aura. Lee walked up and Naruto hard on the back. Guy checked the time as this was going on. We still have plenty of time. You are both dimmest until 3 o'clock. At that time Lee you are to report to the typical training field. Naruto, I need you to report to the place where you learned how to water walk. Naruto gave his sensei a confused look. Just trust me, you'll be glad you did. Alright, Guy sensei. I believe you, let's go Lee. I got a bowl of ramen with my name on it. Naruto turned to walk out. Yosh. I am yearning to meet up with Ayami-chan. Lee followed him out the door. The Sandaime let out a big sigh once they were gone. Are you really sure you want to go through with this guy? Both Jonin turned to face their superior. I have no right to tell him no. I explained myself yesterday, Hokage-sama. Yamato peered curiously at his senpai. Naruto-kun shows a lot of promise. I feel that I can properly guide him through his training. You have no need to fear. Yamato bowed down before the Hokage. The old man let out another big sigh. I know. I trust both of your judgments. I just worry for the boy is all. He's had such a hard life. Naruto stumbled his way through the forest towards the river. It always amazed him that the village could have such greenery within the village bounds. It spoke volumes for the village's size. Soon Naruto stumbled out of the brush and onto the clearing. There he was faced with Zabuza and Haku as they were squaring off with their swords. Haku was panting heavily and appeared to have various see throughout his body. Man, you guys are still going at this. Naruto made his presence known as he stepped onto the water with both of them. They both lowered their blades as they acknowledged Naruto's sudden appearance. 3 o'clock already. Guess we really lost track of time. Zabuza said as he walked up to Naruto. I don't understand. What's going on here Zabuza? Naruto looked curiously between his two companions. That's Zabuza-sensei to you. The former Kiri shinobi pointed proudly at his chest. Zabuza-sensei. Why would I call you that? Naruto scratched his head. Were you dropped on the head as a baby? I am officially your Suiten ninjutsu instructor. I'll be training you and Haku together every day at 3 while Guy continues to work on your other teammates' taijutsu. Naruto's eyes grew wide. Are you serious? You're going to be teaching us kick-ass water moves. Naruto started jumping around in excitement. This is awesome. I can't believe Guy-sensei finally agreed to let me learn ninjutsu. Calm down there. I won't deal with none of that hyperactive crap. Naruto immediately quit jumping. Listen, learning to use elemental ninjutsu is tricky and sometimes dangerous. If you mess up you could seriously hurt yourself or others. You must learn to remain calm, especially for Suiten. It requires fluid, precise actions to maintain properly. So what are you going to teach us first? Zabuza resisted the urge to hit the kid upside the head. Instead he settled for a big sigh. First is the Sushin, Suiben. It is the perfect technique to teach you how to control the water and bend it to your will. The seals are Ni, Inu, Ushi. Zabuza ran through the seals. Practice those until you have them down. I will then give you a demonstration. Naruto and Haku nodded and began running through the seals for a few minutes. Zabuza watched until he felt they were ready. Alright, that should be good enough. Now observe. He ran through the seals again but this time the water next to him rose up slowly. Oh, that's awesome. It looks almost like a snake. Naruto shouted with excitement. Suddenly the whip flew at Naruto and wrapped itself around him. Naruto lost his balance and fell down into the water. A second later and he came up gasping for air. What the hell was that for? Naruto pulled himself back up so he was standing on the water again. For talking out of turn. Now I want you both to try and make this same thing. Making it will be the easy part. Getting it to go where you want and work the way you want is the hard part. Zabuza stood back as his two students started running through the seals. Naruto, who was still a little pissed, put more chakra in it than he had intended. A massive wave rose itself up from under his feet, knocking him over and forcing Haku to break his jutsu and jump away. When Naruto fell, the jutsu collapsed and Naruto went falling back under the water again. He came back out gasping for breath. Too much chakra. Captain Obvious said as Naruto cursed and pulled himself back up again. I got it this time. Naruto ran through the seals again. This time one just a little thicker than Zabuza's came up out of the water. Naruto brought it up to his shoulder level in a straight line and stopped it there. How's that? Naruto looked over to Haku to see that he had accomplished the same thing. Not bad runts. Like I said though, any fresh genin can do that. Now I want you two to launch them at each other. Don't worry about hurting one another. Pain tends to be a powerful teaching tool. Zabuza laughed a little too hard at his own joke. Haku's whip started flying at Naruto. The boy almost took a step back on instinct. He needn't have worried. Haku's whip see off at the base and the rest plunged into the water before it even made it halfway to him. My turn. Naruto focused on shooting his whip towards Haku. Suddenly it set off, but instead of flying at Haku it just smacked down into the ground. It came up and smacked again. Oh crap, what am I doing? Naruto panicked and then his whip turned and him in the face. Naruto fell into the water for the third time that day. When he came up his ears were graced his Zabuza's laughter. Yeah, really funny. If you're our sensei you should be trying to teach us how to control this thing. Naruto pointed an accusing finger at the older man. Zabuza's laughter immediately stopped. I told you. You must remain calm. The reason your whip flew out of control is because you are trying to pace yourself too quickly. You need to learn to slow down. Naruto looked down at Zabuza's harsh words. What did I do wrong, Zabuza-sensei? Haku spoke up for the first time since Naruto had arrived. You had your whip under control, but as you stretched it out you didn't put enough water into its base. When it was severed from its source you lost control of it. The best way to fix that is simply to apply more chakra. Now again. Haku and Naruto both ran through the seals and rose the whips up. Haku's flew first again. This time it made it all the way to Naruto and nicked him right in the cheek. Naruto almost rose his hand to rub it but stopped himself. He had to stay calm. He wasn't going to lose control here. His whip took off again and this time flew at Haku. It made jagged turns and looked more like a zigzag and Naruto ended up overestimating its turn and it flew right over Haku's shoulder. They both let their jutsu collapse. That wasn't bad. Haku has a natural advantage over you with his water affinity of course. You were too tense, that's why the jutsu was going all over the place. Don't force calmness on yourself like that. Take deep breaths and let it come naturally. It'll work out, trust me. Zabuza's voice was much calmer now, it almost seemed hypnotic to Naruto like that. On his next try Naruto's came out a little crooked at points but it managed to nail Haku in the shoulder. Haku had gone for Naruto's other cheek. I really think I'm getting this. Naruto said excitedly as he let the jutsu drop while rubbing his bruising cheeks. Don't get too excited. You both have a long ways to go. You have to learn how to wrap it around your opponent yet, use it as a shield against small weapons such as shuriken, and learn to ride on it yet. We get to learn to ride it. Naruto felt himself wanting to jump around again. One look from Zabuza expelled that thought though. You both have a long ways to go until then. Today I'm not going to teach you any more than I have. You will both do it until you don't even have to think about it. Now go. Naruto and Haku immediately started up again. An hour and a half later and Guy, Hinata, and Lee were greeted by the sight of Naruto and Haku both bruised and slightly wet as they walked into the training ground. Oh, Naruto-kun. Hinata ran up to her boyfriend upon seeing the condition he was in. Are you alright? It doesn't sting too bad, does it? I got some healing salve, just a moment. Whoa, there, hold on Hinata. I'm fine. The fox will have these all patched up in a few minutes anyways. Haku might want that salve though. Naruto gestured to Haku who definitely looked more beat up than Naruto. It's funny, he got me way more than I got him and he still looks worse for it. Hinata reluctantly handed Haku the salve. Thank you. Haku mumbled as he applied it to all his visible bruise marks. This stuff actually works pretty well. Haku stared incredulously at the tiny bottle as instant relief washed over him. Of course. Hinata made it herself. Naruto wrapped his arm around Hinata's shoulder. She's a genius, isn't she? Hinata felt herself blushing slightly under Naruto's praise. Yes, do you mind if I hold on to this? Haku asked as he held out the salve. Hinata shook her head and Haku stuck it into one of his pouches. So, Hinata, did you get to choose a weapon? I just realized that we haven't seen each other since 9 this morning. We're going to have to go to Ichiraku's together after this. What did Guy-sensei teach you guys today? Naruto bombarded Hinata with talk before she could even reply to his first question. I did get a weapon. I choose the bow and arrows. They are amazing, the feeling you get when firing them is thrilling. Tenten-senpai says I'm a natural. Guy-sensei just had me work on Juho Soshikan some more today. He says I need to build up my chakra reserve so I am not completely drained after using it. I would also really enjoy eating together afterwards. I missed you today. Naruto blushed slightly at the last bit and he looked the other way hoping she wouldn't see it. How cute. I greatly enjoy seeing young love and embarrassment. Guy boomed with his hands on his hips. Reminds me of my youthful days as a genin. Guy-sensei, you had a girlfriend when you were a kid? Naruto asked curiously. Even Lee had to look at his sensei questioningly. Guy leaned forward very closely to them all. It's a secret, he whispered with great breaks in between. Ah, come on Guy-sensei, no fair. Naruto shouted while the others looked disappointed. Naruto, you aren't upset at all that I've referred you to Zabuza for teaching you? Guy quickly changed the course of the conversation. Naruto gave his sensei a confused look. No, why would I be? I just don't want you thinking I don't want to train you is all. Remember, no matter how many senseis you get, you are my pupil. Guy made a big point of emphasizing the my. Guy-sensei, Naruto's was touched by how much his teacher really cared. I understand why you let Zabuza train me, he's a master at Suten after all. I'm more surprised he actually agreed to train me. He's taken an interest in you. Haku answered before Guy could. At Naruto's questioning look, Haku continued explaining. Zabuza-sensei has always been fascinated by special abilities. That is why I was able to travel with him. So he's only interested in me because of the fox. Naruto sounded slightly hurt. Enough about that. We must get back into our usual routine. I trust you all remember the pace you were when we left the village. Guy was met with nods from each of his students, albeit Naruto took a while to respond. Good. Haku, we'll need to set up a schedule for you. I'll just see how you do tonight and I'll have one written up for you tomorrow. I'm sure I'll be able to keep pace with whatever exercise they're doing. Haku smiled good-naturedly. He'd never been more wrong in his life. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.